Welcome back. Happy Friday, everybody. We are back together here with another video. We're going to be talking about Star Wars. As you guys know, I'm actually a very active Star Wars fan. I actually grew up on it. My wife did not. She actually kind of got into it when she got with me. Because you didn't see one single Star Wars movie before we got together, right?
No.
And we've been together a while. So I love Star Wars. She's definitely more of a passive person. And when I actually say I love Star Wars, I'm talking about the George Lucas stuff mainly. Has Disney actually put out some good stuff? Yeah, very, very few. The sequel trilogy was a disaster. And as much as I love George Lucas, and I do, the biggest mistake he ever made was actually making Kathleen Kennedy the president of Lucasfilm when he was actually in the process of selling to Walt Disney, because the Walt Disney Company didn't want him around. And I believe that the only reason why Kathleen Kennedy got the job, because he thought that Kathleen Kennedy would actually respect his drafts of the sequel trilogy, and that didn't happen. So Star Wars is in a pretty bad place, especially on the big screen. They have put out the sequel trilogy, which is 3 movies. They put out Solo, which was an anthology movie. They put out Rogue One. So I believe that's a grand total of 5 movies that they put out. I only consider one of those movies to be good, and that's Rogue One. The sequel trilogy, garbage. Every single one of them. Solo, awful. Didn't like it. But now, Star Wars is actually in the process of actually getting back on the big screen. They announced that Daisy Ridley's coming back as Rey. Oh my God. What do you think of Rey coming back?
I'm not looking forward for it.
Me neither. She's a terrible character. There's no hero's arc with her character.
Yeah, I would rather have Luke come back.
Well, Luke's dead. They killed him off
Well, yeah.
in the middle of the trilogy. And that wasn't Luke. That was Jake. That was Jake Skywalker. Luke Skywalker never showed back up. He never got off that island either. My God. Star Wars, it's been existing on Disney Plus. Mandalorian season 1 and 2 was good. Mandalorian season 3, awful. Book of Boba Fett, awful. Obi-Wan Kenobi, awful. I keep saying awful so much when it comes to Disney Star Wars here. But the Rey movie's coming out, which I think is going to be a disaster, because they keep focusing on the wrong things. They don't care about what made Star Wars special. They don't care about the story. And Kathleen Kennedy actually had an interview. And to me, I believe she absolutely disrespected George Lucas, the creator.
Did she say, like, before that she will keep George Lucas' character alive?
Yeah, keep on the legacy that he built.
Yeah.
That was in 2012 when George Lucas had the paper right there on the desk, and he was about to sign Lucasfilm away. And they didn't do that. They hate Luke. Obi-Wan Kenobi's job in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show should have been him watching over Luke. That little boy had one line in the whole entire series. And that was in the last series. It was about Leia. It wasn't about Luke. It retconned so much, it pissed a lot of people off, including myself. I mean, it was nice to see Ewan McGregor back. It was nice to see Hayden Christensen back as Anakin and Vader. But that show was trash.
It just seems like those people are like the side character. The main character is probably like the lady, what's her name?
Reva.
Yeah, Reva.
Yeah, she was awful.
Yeah, Reva and Leia probably.
Yeah. I mean, they killed off the Grand Inquisitor, and the Grand Inquisitor, people knew the Grand Inquisitor from Rebels, but it seems like they didn't have enough room to actually keep him in a show. So they killed him off, even though he wasn't dead, to push her story, which was bad. The whole thing with her was just bad. But when it comes to the time of the movies, now it's been since 2019 with The Rise of Palpatine. That was the last Star Wars movie to come out. Now they actually have movies on the slate again, even though, by the way, they have announced other movies and canceled them all. So this Rey movie, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But check this out. I'm going to read this a little bit here and we're going to talk about it. After the critical disappointment that was The Rise of Skywalker, which was The Rise of Palpatine, all Star Wars theatrical plans were halted in their tracks, with countless projects announced and then abandoned in equal measure. Kennedy is keen to see the studio follow the lead of the James Bond franchise. Keep that in mind, which regularly waited at least 3 years between films to allow for more relaxed production times and higher quality output. Even if some of the Daniel Craig Bond outings weren't as well received critically, there can be no arguing that of his 5, at least 2 of them can be considered the best Bond movies of all time, which comes down to a duty of care with the franchise. Listen to this, quote, "I've often brought up Bond," Kennedy said in an interview with Empire magazine. "That's every 3 or 4 years, and there wasn't this pressure to feel like you had to have a movie every year. I feel that was very important to Star Wars. We have to eventize this." Kennedy also notes that the earliest we are likely to see, it's much better to tell the truth that we're going to make these movies when they are ready to be made and release them when they are ready to be released. Here's the problem. George Lucas made 6 Star Wars movies. Guess what?
What?
Every single one of them already came out every 3 years. Every single one of them. She's acting like James Bond is the standard. George Lucas was already doing this. This just tells you how out of touch she is.
So it seems like she didn't realize that Josh Lucas was already doing that, or she just doesn't want to give credit to Josh Lucas.
I guess she just doesn't want to give credit to George Lucas, but she was around George with Indiana Jones. She was actually in Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Those movies weren't out every year either. I mean,
well, it seems like she wants to take credit, like, oh, this is like she's the one who figured these things out when Josh Lucas already did.
I guess she wants to think, I have this great idea. Let's model James Bond. No. The original Star Wars came out in 1977. Empire came out in 1980. Jedi came out in 1983. Then George Lucas waited a whole 16 years before the prequels came out. 1999, Phantom Menace. 2002, Attack of the Clones. 2005, Revenge of the Sith. Every 3 years in a trilogy. But in that gap, he waited 16 years because the technology wasn't there for him to make the prequels the way he wanted to make it.
Okay, and now she wants to follow that to make movie every 3 year, release the movie.
Pretty much.
And that's the problem for Disney right now, because like they don't put out, good movie.
They're not putting out anything
TV
good.
show. So what's the point of releasing the movie or TV series every 3 years?
Guess what? If Star Wars was good and they were putting out a movie every single year, guess what? Nobody would have a problem if the movies were good. Nobody would have a problem. Here's the thing also. The MCU, Marvel, also under Disney. Seems like they were putting out movies like every year. They didn't have a problem until they got woke. It seems like Marvel was putting out good movies pretty much every year. Was every movie great? No. But for the most part, the movies were really good. until they got woke after Endgame. They put out something like 20-something movies. I mean, Star Wars under Kathleen Kennedy has only put out 5 movies. 5. Since 2012 when they bought it. That's it. And it's been trash. It's been an unmitigated disaster. And this new Rey movie, guess what? The person that's in charge of the Rey movie, not even a film director. I mean, this woman, I don't remember her name. She was actually making documentaries. Not the same. And she has an agenda also. A woke agenda.
Okay.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah, why?
They're hiring activists to make Star Wars movies. Just like with the Acolyte that's coming out, that may be the worst out of everything. Because activists are involved with that TV show.
Should they hire like someone who is really into like the film?
Of course not. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do
documentary.
that. They're not going to do that. They're more about agenda than anything. I mean, think of this. Luke Skywalker is the hero of the Star Wars original trilogy. You bring him back, and what do you do to him? That first movie, he has 0 lines, doesn't say anything. He has like a minute cameo. Then you make him a quitter in the next movie. You kill him off. You bring him back as a Force ghost, and he has a grand total of like 5 minutes of screen time. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Luke is a little boy. You don't really see Luke until the last episode, and that's it. I mean, you saw him one time when Obi-Wan was looking through the binoculars, but Luke did nothing. They hate Luke. And they've been on a mission to destroy every single character that George Lucas has created.
Yeah.
That's a major problem to me.
I just really feel, the character, Anakin character in Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Just
They destroyed Obi-Wan. My God.
Yeah.
My biggest problem, though, with Obi-Wan is that he let Reva live after she already knew where Luke was. That's a problem. That is a major problem. He should not have let her live. I mean, she just tried to assassinate Luke.
Yeah, but...
And he failed because Obi-Wan wasn't there to protect him.
Yeah, but the TV show is turning into a different direction.
Yeah. Oh. It's bad, but that's all I got to say about this. Man, Kathleen Kennedy. My goodness. A lot of YouTube channels out there blasting her over this, and I don't blame them. So,
I was wondering why she still have the job. I mean,
boy, if she get fired, man, I'm pretty sure the votes would be outraged. But she needs to be fired. She needs to retire. She's like 70 now. So she is terrible at her job. Terrible.
Well, maybe someone can discuss it with her about what's wrong. And...
No, she's in charge of Lucasfilm. Who's gonna talk to her about it? I mean, it would take Bob Iger, I believe, to actually fire her, but Bob Iger ain't gonna do that. So anyway, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. We'll be back on Monday with another video for you guys. Until then, be safe.
Goodbye.